bring in Sam Cosentino to break it all down for us. I got to really just take advantage when Team Canada wins these days, Sammy, because when Team USA wins, it's like it never ends.
That's true.
But, you know, you look at this tournament, Canada dominated so much of it. What was the biggest story coming out of the tournament for you?
Well, I think it had to be the underage players, and really all of them, but two of them in particular with Canada. It starts with Connor Bedard, as you guys mentioned. This guy's not even old enough to drive. He doesn't even have a license yet. He's too young. He's 15. Not draft eligible until 2023. So he was brilliant all tournament long. He showed a lot of resilience in his game. He showed a little bit of fatigue, but responded from that. And the most telling part for me was the fact that, yeah, okay, it's a gold medal game. I missed on a penalty shot about a minute and a half later after he gets consoled from his teammates. He just puts that in his back pocket and says, all right, backhand shot between the dots, not a problem whatsoever. Picks up a couple of points in this game, 14 points all told. And to think that, you know, he's doing things that Connor McDavid did in 2013, simply amazing. So Connor Bedard is someone we get the joy of watching for the next couple of years as we make our way to the 2023 draft.
And how about Shane Wright? Because you mentioned him as well. I wanted to get back to Bedard, but give us your thoughts on Shane Wright, because, I mean, this is another young player that has so much upside.
Both players exceptional status for their respective leagues. And when it comes to Shane Wright, you really have that all-around game. You have a guy who really sticks out when he shoots the puck. Deadly accurate, extremely hard, awesome release, but he gives you those captain leadership abilities. He gives you the ability to make plays. There is nothing in the game that Shane Wright can't do and can't do at a high level. So the telltale sign for me, both Shane Wright and Connor Bedard out there for Dave Barr in the final minute of a gold medal game, protecting a one-goal lead. Of course, the two would connect to seal it and make it a 5-3 win for Canada. So, again, a brilliant performance by an underage player and a double underage player. Pretty awesome to see.
Now, Sam, you said that they have exceptional status in both of the leagues they play in the Canadian Hockey League, the Western League, the Ontario League. Explain that to our viewers, because a lot of the people that are watching the show, they're huge hockey fans, but they're not as familiar with how things work in terms of junior hockey in Canada. Explain what the significance of that is.
Okay, I'm glad you asked that, EJ, because these are players that are allowed to play in the Canadian Hockey League at the age of 15. And it goes back. There are 7 of them all told. It starts with John Tavares. It worked through Aaron Ekblad. Connor McDavid was one of those players. Joe Veleno, Sean Day being the other ones. And now these two guys, and Connor Bedard and Shane Wright. And what that means is they have to be vetted by Hockey Canada. They have to be vetted by the respective leagues to not only be able to handle the rigors of play and travel, but the schooling and the maturity that comes along with playing with older guys. Both of these players have seemingly answered the bell, and they've done it in spades, and they will continue to do it, I think, for a long time in each of their respective leagues. Shane in the OHL and Connor in the WHL.
Well, Sam, I'd love to make this all about Team Canada, but I know my audience, and I learned very early in my career to know my audience. And we got a lot of American hockey fans watching right now. So in terms of American prospects, who caught your eye in this tournament?
Well, there's a couple of players in particular, and Sean Behrens is a guy that I've really started to grow on. I love what he brings to the table. He's a fearless player. He's a smaller player. He skates extremely well. He can transport the puck, and when that option is not available, he moves the puck. But he's not afraid to be up in the rush, down by the goal line. He's a guy that I really have enjoyed watching play and watching a lot more video on him. The other guy is Dylan Duke, and I think Dylan Duke is one of those players that when you get around that 15 or 20-foot circumference around the net, he's there. He's digging in. He's making it difficult. He's finding soft ice. And when he gets those opportunities, oftentimes he buries them. So these two players stuck out to me for Team USA at the under-18s. I've gone back and I've done a little bit more work on them on a more broader scope with the seasons that they've had. Both guys super, super impressive. You look at Behrens, each of them played 5 games. They each put up 4 points. Duke on the plus side of things, and Behrens as a D-man on the -1 rating side of things. But I really like both of these players, and I think they do and will generate some first-round consideration.
And it's going to be a tricky year for the scouts for sure. They haven't seen all these players. It's not been a normal year. It's not been an even kind of viewing. The Russians made it to the final, and they ended up losing to Canada. They were one of the few teams that really gave Canada any trouble. Was there any 1 or 2 guys on that team that stood out? Hey, maybe this is somebody that could make a push or be someone that an NHL team would really be interested in?
Well, I'm going to do it quickly here. There's three guys. Nikita Chibrikov is one of them. He wore the C for Team Russia and was brilliant from an offensive standpoint, all over the ice, making plays, scoring goals. The other guy, Fyodor Svechkov, and he's a guy who's a lot more well-rounded, a little bit more like Shane Wright in the totality of his game, the 200-foot game, where, yes, he can produce offense, he can make plays, he can win draws, but he's also really responsible on the defensive side of things. And, hey, we can't forget about Matvei Mishkov. This guy's 16 years old. He's a late birthday. He and Connor Bedard are going to go toe-to-toe. I mean, we've talked about Connor Bedard. Canada won the gold medal. But Michkov, my goodness, he led the tournament with 16 points. In the gold medal game, and this guy's doing stuff like this with the lacrosse goal, scoring from all different angles. I mean, he's a complete circus out there. But he was in on all three Russian goals in the gold medal game. You talk about playing under pressure, no problem for this guy. And he was asked after the game, hey, what's it going to be like to play against Connor Bedard internationally in the next couple of years? You know what he said? I don't care about that. We lost. I'm more focused on our team play right now, despite leading the tournament with 16 points. So unbelievable performance by this young man. 2 goals shy of the tournament record held by Cole Caulfield and Alexander Ovechkin for 14 goals. This guy had 12 snipes in the tournament.
Wow. My goodness. Well, I'll never be able to look at this Michkov kid again without thinking he's a complete circus out there. That's why I knew, like, if anyone asked me ever about him, I'll be like, well, word on the street, he's a complete circus out there. He is that good. Yeah. But, Sam, always a pleasure having you on the show. We don't have you on enough. Thank you for this. We love having you on.
Go Canada, go. Gold medal, Jack.
Yes, buddy, yes.